Renee?
Okay.
It was flashes of Malice at the Palace 2 over in Detroit this weekend when LeBron James and Detroit Pistons forward Isaiah Stewart got entangled after a rebound off a free throw and then got into a kind of rolling scuffle. Both players were ejected. Isaiah Stewart ended up with blood streaming down his face and went on to break approximately 8 or 10 tackles in his various attempts to get at LeBron. I mentioned the ejections. It is Monday afternoon. Suspensions have not come down yet, and I think that we joke about the influence LeBron has on the league, but I think if it was any other player, they would have had these suspensions ready at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. They're not ready yet. But what do you foresee happening in terms of suspensions, fines? It was a wild one.
It was a wild one. Honestly, I didn't see it live, but, I saw it via Twitter. And so when I first saw that there was like something that happened, at first I was like, don't nobody care, because usually the scuffles that happen are like, once you go check them out and you look at it, you're like, this is what y'all were talking about? But when I went back and I looked at this one, I was like, wait a minute. Like, we had action. We had an emerging running back coming out in Isaiah. Like, he has
Derrick Henry.
Listen, there's NFL teams right now today that might want to be looking at what Isaiah Stewart was doing. He had his teammates. Cunningham gave it his best effort. I'm talking about Cunningham gave everything he had to try to stop Isaiah from meeting Russell Westbrook, who was knuckled up, ready for action. Russell Westbrook, I'm going to tell you what, I don't care what nobody says. That LA Lakers team is about that action, whether it's Carmelo, AD, Russell Westbrook, and even DeAndre Jordan looked like he was playing, a blocker out there.
That was the most defensive rotation I've seen for him in a number of seasons.
Like these, I say what you want about the Lakers and grant you, like, of course, I know Laker fans want Lakers to win more games and blah, 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 but there's something dope about seeing teammates ride for each other. I mean, I'm an athlete, so that's kind of like my thing. Like, we've always, in the locker room, always said we got each other's back. And that don't mean only in the good times. So when I see this Lakers team, they always stand up for each other. I'm like, well, you know what? At least they can build off of that.
It was absolutely a crazy one. Like you, I missed it live, but then I flipped to it when I saw what was happening on social media. Laker fans got mad at me for saying that LeBron will probably get suspended for this.
Don't they play New York soon at Madison Square Garden?
Now listen, they do play him. They play him Tuesday, the day this podcast goes out. That has no bearing on my opinion that he'll get suspended. I mean, people were like, it's inadvertent. He was trying to get him off of him. Advertent. Like, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not like Professor Charles Xavier. I don't know what people are thinking. All I know is if you ball up your fist and hit a guy in the face, whether you meant to do it or not, it's a reckless play, and you'll get a game for that. That's just like how it works. What will be interesting to me is like how many Stewart gets. I would imagine it would be maybe something like 2-2. They make them even or something.
Do you think that the punishment should be equal? Like, did both parties do the same amount of thing?
I mean, LeBron, this is just my opinion. And my opinion does not say what the league office does.
Right. We don't have nothing to do with the NBA.
But I think LeBron did it on purpose. Do I think he's a dirty player? No. I don't think it's like the dirtiest play ever. This is stuff that happens in basketball. But I think he meant to swing his arm. I think he probably didn't think he was going to hit him in the face. I think he thought, maybe I'm going to get him bow him in the chest or something, get him off me. I think that will happen. But for Stewart, I think you have to, I think what he did, I think if you break away from your teammates one time, like, fight happens, right? And then you get held back, and then you break away once. Okay, you probably get away with that. If you break away from people 3-4 times, I'm sorry, but the Pistons game day staff, the ushers, the security guards, etc., they don't get paid enough to be diving in front of Isaiah Stewart 5-6 times. You know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to, it's the Lord. This is a Sunday. Even the Lord rested on this day. And they're being asked to dive in front of Isaiah Stewart multiple times while he's bleeding from a wound.
There was a coach that hit the ground trying to, block the,
my God.
I'm going to tell you right now, Isaiah, like that was a man loose, boy. I'm going to tell you.
Loose.
The security guard didn't even try. So I know that you said he didn't try to block it. There was one police officer, he reached out his arm and he was like, couldn't reach him. You're on your own. Like, and then there was a coach that tried to drag him, fell out. Like I said, Cunningham was the only one that kind of had him around the waist and was like, I'm not letting go. But there was not much. Speaking of, I'm going to just say, should security be able to secure the area? What defines security anymore? Because I'm trying to figure it out, because those people are there. Like, let's say hypothetically, somebody as big as Isaiah Stewart tried to get a hold of the players. I don't know what those security guards or people around could do. So I'm starting to think that other than the fact that NBA players we now see can play in the NFL if they would like to, we see that there's capabilities there. The NBA might want to look at the security problem, because I'm not saying that this was Malice in Palace Part 2, but had Cunningham not been as diligent as he was
good.
That would have been very interesting what could have happened, because DeAndre Jordan was sitting there waiting like, this is who you have to meet before you can get to LeBron. Then you got to meet Russell Westbrook. Probably Carmelo Anthony after that. And at the very last one, in the last challenge, you get to see LeBron. So it could have got ugly.
It was like the end of Avengers Endgame. On your left, LeBron, and then it's Russell Westbrook there. On your left, it's DeAndre Jordan there. I will say, so here's the thing about Isaiah Stewart being the running back. He acted all cool down, right? And was walking away. But then he saw the smallest coach on the edge, and that's when he went for the hole.
He went for the weakest point?
That's when he went for the cutback and exploded across the edge, because he saw, I got the matchup is in my favor. So he does have those instincts. I will say Cade's stock, in my eyes, went up huge. First of all, you're absolutely right. He stuck with him. Like, he was out there in front of Stewart the whole time, grabbing him by the waistband, not letting him get loose. And that's your rookie. That's not veteran presence. That's your rookie. He was right next to him the whole time, trying to calm him down. Now, some folks were like, okay, now Stewart is playing because, much like the Heat Nuggets situation, it seemed like it was chilled out. And then when they got separated, all of a sudden Stewart wanted more. And this is not to like defend anything Stewart did, because he went wild. I'm a coward, okay? But I've been around fights, and I've seen it where somebody gets scratched a little bit. They got a little blood. They see that blood, and all of a sudden it changes. What was just like a little light scuffle turns into just goes to another level. And I think that's what happened with Stewart. I think he didn't know he was bleeding, and he wanted to talk to LeBron, and then they got separated. And then he saw, oh wait, am I bleeding? And then it just went to a different
Incredible
level.
Hulk style,
yes.
Okay, so Jason, listen. We have both of our squads, the Knicks and the Hawks, but we haven't talked so much about the hot start from the boys in the Bay, the Golden State Warriors. They're 15-2 right now. Steph Curry is playing out of his mind, MVP caliber play. I don't know anyone who puts on a better show than Steph Curry right now in the game of basketball. Incredible. It's just the showmanship and all of it. Draymond is again showing that he has something to give to the league, and he's talking noise. He has his own podcast out now, and I saw it, and he talked about how people better hope they don't lose, because he's been keeping track of everything everyone has said over that period of time when they were not the best. Klay Thompson hasn't even played yet and is set to come back. And when you look at a 15-2 record, they still have, Weissman, I don't know if he's even back yet. They have some heat still coming. And in the same breath, they're 15-2. Steph Curry is fanning himself because he's too hot. He's like, cool me off. No one can. So are we making them the favorites for the Larry O'Brien this year? Like, what are we doing? What are we saying?
So I had them as a dark horse. I thought, they look shaky last few years. It's unclear how much Draymond has in the tank. Steph is going to be Steph for a number of years. Forget it. When you could shoot like that, It don't matter if you have any foot speed. If you can handle the ball at all, you're going to get open when you shoot like that. But it was unclear what was going on with the rest of the squad. Like, and now they're healthy. Iguodala's healthy. Draymond, hate him, love him. He annoys me. I hate playing against him. That guy's a genius. It's amazing what he does, the way he's able to read the game. And you said it. This is all, originally I was like, okay, a dark horse.
And what does a dark horse mean exactly?
That means like some things have to break right? Like, so, you would pick, this is before the season. So I'm thinking, okay, Lakers, the Suns coming back, the Nuggets, if they get healthy, Clippers. And then we'll see about Golden State if they answer some questions, if everybody's healthy, if some of the top teams slip. And that is just, forget it. These guys are the favorites. Klay hasn't even come back yet. I was sitting here like, okay, if they get Klay at 60 to 75%, forget it. When you got Draymond Green playing at the level he's playing, where he and Steph together are just a force, and you're getting some pretty good output from Jordan Poole, from Wiggins at times.
For sure.
Now the team offensively still falls off a cliff when Steph sits, but they're like top 3 in offense and defense. They look like the old Warriors, and Klay hasn't come back yet. And I think the important thing that they've done too is last year there was a lot of push-pull about, how do we be a competitive team and also develop James Wiseman, get him minutes, figure out how he can play in the scheme. And James Wiseman needs pick and roll. The team plays read and react. It didn't work. And now that's gone. Kevon Looney is playing, and he's playing well. And the theory now is, or at least, the philosophy is, hey, James Wiseman, he's the number 2 pick. You got to take Kevon Looney's job. You just got to take his job, or you're not going to play. And that's clearly the right move right now, because the Warriors are steamrolling everybody.
They're rolling right now. And sometimes with teams, when you have a flow, even if you add a good player, sometimes that can mess up the flow. So I'm curious how it's going to look when they do infuse Klay, because then when you add different people to the rotation, that means people are going to have less minutes. Some are going to have more minutes. Some are going to have, and Golden State has a system where there's enough shots for everyone. We know that. Like, we've seen it when everyone was healthy. I'm not asking, is there enough balls for everyone? But I just know that anytime you change anything on a team, like it doesn't matter if it's one person, it can change the chemistry of the team, not in a bad way. I mean, like sometimes it can be in a bad way, but what are your thoughts for when Klay comes back? Like, is it going to take them, is there going to be a period where they look, I would say, not a 15-2 Warriors, like, because they're adding him? What do you think?
Assuming he's healthy enough to play at a level comparable to his previous amount of play. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that if you're Jordan Poole or Wiggins, you're like, man, I really missed those 2 to 3 shots that are now going to Klay that used to be mine. By the same token, that 3, Draymond, Steph, Klay, that's a big 3, like any that we've seen in NBA history with great teams. And I think it's known.
Yeah, like I'm talking about when you get a starter back from injury, everybody knows that starter is the starter, but how does the team infuse that starter back into the rotation and back into the thing?
I think there will be some transition, particularly if it takes some time for him to find his shot. Yeah. Because, Klay was an elite 2-way player. So we feel like, okay, assuming health and everything, the defense within the scheme should be there. What happens if he's not missing his shots? Yeah. And that's where I think the chemistry issues could come into play. What do you think?
I'm curious to see. It's not like he's going to be coming back from his injury having not practiced. So I always, I know that he will have practiced for a certain amount of time, but I just know with teams, we saw it. We both had teams last year that ended the season on a high. No, we didn't win a championship, but we knew that we were heading in the right direction. We knew we had the nucleus that we wanted, and we knew that, okay, this feels different. So then we both come this year a couple of changes were made to our teams. We still had our same nucleus, and we struggled. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks, we saw it, struggled heavily. We still had Trey out there. We still had John Collins out there. We still had Clint Capella out there. Danilo Gallinari. We still had all of our heavy hitters out there, but each year is different. And so Klay hasn't played in 2 years.
I mean,
so
that's
just
a long time.
That's a long time. Just the rhythm of the game, just getting the rust off, just finding your flow, the passing, the speed of the game. I don't care what anybody says. Once you get into the game is the game. You can practice all you want, but that game energy that it takes where you have to get your second win because the adrenaline, all of that, your legs, you might train so much time, but your legs could be dead just because the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like, you're just so excited to be playing again after 2 years that there's just periods of things that you have to go through. So I'm just curious to see how Klay looks after 2 years of not playing on the court a game.
I got to ask you this about Steph. So here's Steph through 16 games, 28 points, shooting 45%, 6 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 96% from the free throw line.
Ridiculous.
He scored 45 on October 21st, 50 on November 8th, 40 on November 12th. Let me ask you this because it's something I've been thinking about. I've always said that if we had 10 LeBron Jameses, 10 players that played like LeBron James in the league, people would say this is the best basketball has ever been. This is amazing. If we had 10 Steph Currys, you'd hear people be like, we got to change the rules. Like, we got to move the 3-point back. We got to widen the court or something. Maybe put a cap on 3. I just think that he is the most game-breaking, unique offensive player of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Not to take away anything from anybody else. It's the way he plays has the potential, if more people could play like this, to change basketball into like a completely different kind of game.
That's kind of what his whole slogan or mantra is. It's ruin the game, change the game. And I think that that's kind of what they're getting at. He has such a talent that, first of all, he did ruin the game in a sense of every time I go and I watch these little kids play, everybody wants to shoot. Yes. They can't even shoot a free throw.
True.
Like, these kids can't even shoot a free throw. Like, Steph, the things that kids miss about what Steph Curry does, he's still getting 6 rebounds. He's shooting 96% from the free throw line. He's making layups. He's making floaters. He's scoring in the paint. He's cutting without the ball. He's making unbelievable passes. But the only thing that kids are gravitating to is the fact that he shoots logo threes or that he shoots the wildest threes. Like, that's one part of his game. I think the hardest part about Steph Curry is that he doesn't stop moving. Like, I watch him play, and it's unbelievable. The defender could have played 20 seconds of amazing defense. And that last second where they didn't get over the screen quick enough, bow, he got you. People don't talk about that. The kids are shooting from half court in real games and airballing it. And I'm like, no, baby, no.
It's wild to watch them because the ball is like 1/3 of their entire body. So when you watch these kids and it's so true. You see it at every level now. The kids put their entire strength into heaving this ball up. It's like watching like a goldfish like throw a pumpkin. And and you see it a million times a game. These little kids just like heaving shots at the rim.
Yes, they must be stopped. Like, and it's not, you know what? And honestly, it's gotten to junior high schoolers. It's like everybody want to shoot from the logo and be like, Curry, no, baby, you better get some DeAndre Jordan on and get by the basket and shoot a layup. Like, what's happening now is like, I think it's amazing. He's honed his skills so much that it's a cheat code. Like, you can't guard him because you got to start picking him up at half court. And then now when he's running off of the screens, you're guarding a man a full half court. I think it's amazing what he's done. But what the world is taking from it is, oh my gosh, the basketball players all want to be him. And they don't know how many hours he put in. They don't know all this stuff that you need to be Curry other than the fact that they see that he shoots from deep. And I'm like, oh, Lord. It's time for buzzer beaters where we talk stories we didn't get to cover. And something that I just want to throw out there that the listeners might not know, but of course we know. Saturday, November 27th, the Knicks and the Hawks will be playing.
Let's go!
Let's go! And it's a rematch. Everybody knows when Trey took a bow at MSG. That is the last that we saw. That is the last that we saw of that matchup. But now it's coming back. I would like to just throw it out there that teams that we have beat last year have came back for revenge. The Philadelphia 76ers, they beat us by about 30. So I do understand that last year was last year, this year is this year. But it's still exciting, Jason. I'm still excited.
I am very excited. Listen, rivalries are one of the coolest things about sports, and nothing.
For sure.
One of the surefire ways to start a rivalry is one team eliminates another team in the playoffs. And listen, the season has not quite started the way either team has expected it to start, but I'm ready for the excitement. I'm ready for the vibes. I'm really excited about it.
So predictions. What are we thinking? I mean, look, we're both, and I'd like to just say we both have been on the struggle bus together. We've sat down on Mondays like, oh Lord, our teams, baby. So we're both very humbled this year. I would like to say we're two humble teams. I'm going to just throw it out there. We're going to be playing at State Farm Arena. And for me, that is a very welcome sight because we have had tremendous success at home and not so much success on the road. So the fact that this is at State Farm Arena gives me a little something to be excited about. That's all I'll say for that. But what are your predictions? What do you think?
I'm going home for Christmas. I'm going back to the New York metro area, and I wouldn't be able to go home if I picked against my team. I'm going to pick the Knicks to win. I know they've been shaky. They've been two different teams in the course of games, with the starters being absolutely missing in action and the bench being the best lineup in the NBA. None of that makes sense. Will Tibbs eventually pull Kemba or somebody and give IQ the starting role? I don't know. But I got to pick the Knicks, and it's nothing personal. It's just I got to stay with my people. Renee, who do you got?
Listen, I think you
said
it best. I'm riding with ATL till the wheels fall off, man.
That's
I don't
right.
even care if we trash. Don't ask me no questions, even if we're not good. Y'all know where I stand. Now, I'm not going to be delusional, even if we're not good, but y'all know who I'm riding with. I actually do think, though, that we could win this game. So I'm going to go with the Hawks, but if anybody expected us to say anything different than what we said, you're not paying attention.
That's right. My buzzer beater is for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, first of all, to everybody out there. I hope you're all able to be with the people that you care about, that you're close to. I just love Thanksgiving because it's the holiday that I feel like everybody can take part in. Every person from every background, race, ethnicity, religion, whatever, coming from New York. I've been to a bunch of Thanksgivings where it's like, non-traditional immigrant families, and they put whatever their gathering fare on the table is in addition to turkey. And I love that. I love that everybody can take part in it. Thanksgiving, it's the best. And anytime people have an excuse to just eat a lot of food and fall asleep.
Hello, somebody.
I think that's how I want to live my life, is eating a lot of food and falling asleep
and
watching
TV
sports
all day with the family. You know what? There is something to that. So happy holidays, everybody.
That's right. And that is it for us, folks. Follow and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget, subscribe to Takeline Show on YouTube for exclusive video clips from this episode, plus my digital series, All Caps NBA, which comes out every Friday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you next time.
Happy holidays.